Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. And I don't know if this is a long-term solution or not, but at the very least you don't hear a high-pitched buzzing sound. That being said, the fan inside my laptop is completely broken. So it won't even function at all, let alone turn on and make an annoying noise. However, I do have an external laptop fan made by Belkin plugged in and underneath my laptop. So it's extremely quiet, and it seems to be keeping the laptop cool. So we don't have a super loud, annoying noise, and my laptop seems to be staying cooler than it was with what it was apparently a very much a fan that was not working even when it was on. But if anything, the laptop is quieter than before, and I think it's staying cooler than before. I just have to have this additional thing plugged in. But this additional fan that I have seems to be doing a very good job. And it seems to be extremely quiet. So yeah, it's just an external fan. My laptop is on top of it, and it's plugged into the side, so it's actually the laptop itself is powering this external device that is cooling the laptop so it doesn't overheat. But if anything, it's staying cooler than it was with its own internal fan that doesn't even turn on anymore. So I assume this will work fine. If not, then the laptop will suddenly explode. But on the plus side, this, I think, is at least my best option for a solution to this, and so far I feel pleased with how it is working out. So, yay! Anyway. Let's go ahead and hop back into the story, shall we? Print skin, screen noise. Oh. Anyway. There's no need for you to worry about anything said by those three, or even this suspicious person who calls herself Beatrice. After all, the code is just a ruse created by Father. There's no way something like that could be found. Your position as a successor is a solid fact. What are you afraid of? Kraus removed the padlock on the door. He then motioned for Natsui to enter. Enter. What is this? What is this? What is this? There's something I want you to see. I've never shown you this before. Natsui timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face, occasionally feeling my laptop, and yeah, I feel like it's staying cool. Granted, I do have my box fan over there also blowing in this direction, but I always do, so that's not like anything out of the ordinary. But this external fan, it's extremely quiet, and I think it's apparently doing a very good job. Natsui timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. She searched for a switch to turn on the lights, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. Kraus entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning on the lights, the two were swallowed up by darkness. Only the sound of Kraus locking the door rang out through the dark. What are you doing? The lights. I am turning them on now. Wait. Just as he said, when Kraus pushed a switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room. That is... Natsui had her breath taken away. The room had no windows, and at a glance it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room, a small round table had been set, and the lights brightened only that table, as if it were the leading part in a play. On top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out, covered with dust, and on top of that, something about the size of a grown man's arm had been set down. That something took Natsui's breath away. It's a gold ingot of incredible purity. Without this, no one would have believed in the legend of the gold. It was an ingot of solid gold. Even in faint light, it sparkled with a noble and dignified glint. This is not a proper ingot. I don't even know whether it was cast inside or outside the country. It took a high level of skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots. And in order to verify that purity, it was standard to have the original foundry and the name of the bank that guaranteed it imprinted on the gold. However, this ingot did not have that kind of seal. This mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry. Look here. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a bar of gold. Natsui followed Kraus's words, timidly approached the ingot. Right there, Kraus pointed at the surface of the ingot. Natsui concentrated on that section. Right there was the thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Natsui's breath was taken away once again. That's right. This is the legendary ingot that Father said he received from the witch. The president of the Marusu witnessed and was allowed to select at random to take back with him. That gained the trust of the fixers in the business world. I had to use all possible means to find it. I found it before the other siblings could. How could? Then, the legend of Father's gold is... It actually exists. The gold that Ushiromio Kenzo received from Beatrice actually exists. Impossible. So it really does exist? Natsui was shocked. Kraus had always said that Kenzo's gold was just a fabrication. So, she had believed it as his wife. However, the reality was different since he held definite proof. He had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Kraus was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold he'd failed to find, costing him everything. But to Natsui, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. She had thought that, as Kraus's wife, she should be his closest confidant, which was why she had selflessly supported him. And yet he had hid this fact from her until today. Why? Have I been so undeserving of your trust? That has never been my intention. There was simply no need to tell you. Is that all a wife means to you? Calm down. Becoming passionate easily is one of your bad habits. You're the one who's making me like that, aren't you? I've been supporting you as a wife ever since I married into this family. For your sake, I threw away the family I was born into, and I've been offering up my heart and my body to serve you. And in return, this is what I get? How could you? Kraus grimaced, looking annoyed. His expression effectively communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsui, even if he didn't say it out loud. It doesn't look like I will be of any use to you anymore. That's fine. I can resolve the troubles with the siblings by myself. I don't need your help. That's wrong. This is the Ushiromiya family's problem. It's true that I am not permitted to wear the family crest on my body, but I am still your wife. Even so, are you saying I'm not capable of helping you? Are you? I especially wouldn't want to risk getting you involved. It would probably make your headaches even worse than they are now. Take a rest for today. The siblings will deal with the siblings' problems. It has nothing to do with you. That is all. A dull headache tormented Natsui. No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scents she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of the rain seemed to be a better cure. I may be Natsui, but I was never Ushiromiya Natsui. I have been despised and treated as a borrowed woman, insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as a wife, but now even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter as if it were the last job left to me. However, I've had no release from my anger and sadness, and they've caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There is no longer anything I can do for the Ushiromiya family. No, that's no good. Despite it all, I must help my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy siblings. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually Kraus will succeed the head, and the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will become the next head. But it all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor, whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Ushiromiya family. In the days to come, that greedy Ushiromiya Eva will probably be plotting to find some fault with the main family, and if all goes as planned, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession, with George set up in her place. It is regrettable, but George is a man, and even more, has matured as a person. Compared to Jessica, who is right in the middle of her rebellious period and whose grades are slightly below average, it can be seen at a glance who is more fit to succeed the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband worthy of the excellent person she will have become. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all of life's joys and sorrows. What was Natsui trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire of her own? Natsui thought back to the days when she had no choice but to marry an Ushiromiya family because of that unavoidable fate. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had consciously forgotten it and had actively attended to the life she had been given as Ushiromiya Natsui. And in so doing, she had built up a new life. But just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected. How should I think as I live my life? I do not know. Natsui helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing, even though it should have been emotionless. Right then it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsui. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsui didn't intend to pay any attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter. Oh, it's you, Mom. What the heck are you doing in a place like this? Thought you were a ghost. Just like always, her words were rough and not at all like a girl's. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsui's throat. However, their strength gave out, and they didn't escape her lips. Jessica, forgive me, but my headache is awful. Please leave me be. I see. Jessica was seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Until just now she had been filled with contempt for all of the parents, including her mother, but now those feelings had been completely swept away. Her mother's utterly exhausted face had wiped them all out. In its place The words George had told her floated back up in her mind. Our parents are doing their best in their own way, and because their family's counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant and have a heavy responsibility to fight. Maybe her mother had been standing around in this dimly lit hallway because no one had tried to understand that part of her. Jessica hated her mother, so she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsui just because she was looking a bit frail. So when she attempted to speak kindly to her mother anyway, she had to clench her fists and gather up the words from deep in her heart. It sounds like you've really got your hands full with that meeting thing. It has nothing to do with you. Please go somewhere else. Is your headache bad? Should I get some medicine? You don't have to trouble yourself. Please leave me alone. Natsui wasn't being cold. She just wanted her daughter to go far away so that she wouldn't have to bump against Natsui's own short temper, but there was no chance that Jessica would realize this. Oh, okay. Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsui recognized the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. She gave her head a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings. Then I'll leave. I'll be with the other cousins so I don't get in the way of the adults. See you later. Wait there. She called Jessica, who was trying to leave and looked lonely, to a stop. What? Thank you for being so considerate. It isn't good of me to go to sleep and leave you alone. Don't talk like that, you'll bring bad luck. I've made you worried. But I'm okay now. I will go. If I let my daughter see me this feeble any longer, I'll only make her feel more uneasy. With that thought in mind, Natsui left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. This time, Jessica called out to her mother's back. Natsui stopped and turned around, asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she had stopped her mother, and for a while smiled wryly, muttering to herself as she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around her pocket when her hand touched something and she took it out. Hey Mom, I was given a charm today, which was, what was it? A charm against magic? I'm pretty sure that you were supposed to hang it from your doorknob, I think. I forget. There's no point me having it, so I'll let you take it. It was the scorpion charm that Maria had given her on the beach. Although she had heard of its various effects from Maria, Jessica's mind had gone blank and she was just barely able to say even that much. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand that she had stuck out, grasping the charm. So when Natsui came back to take it, she was extremely shocked. What is this? Some kind of prize toy? Well, I think it's something like that. I guess you wouldn't really expect a charm that looks like a toy to do anything. But her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hands. Thank you. I'll take good care of it. Sometime soon, in exchange, why don't I give you a charm that was important to me when I was a child? You know, this is the sort of thing I value. You know, somebody valuing you as a person, and that you'd give them something. It's not about the material value of it, it's that the thought behind it, that it's something you care about. I love my son very, very much. And I miss him a lot. And no matter what, I will always love him. I remember a couple of months before the last time I've been able to see him in person, I gave him something. It wasn't a birthday or Christmas present, it was just an extra gift I wanted to give to him. Something of sentimental value to me. It was a Pokeball that I had gotten from a Burger King over 25 years ago. Probably back when Pokemon first became a thing. It was a very limited run of things. It had a gold-plated poliwhirl Pokemon card in there. It was actually pretty thick size. Now obviously most of it was just metal underneath but the outside, and of course what that's actually worth. I had actually had it for 25 years before I gave it to him. Now as for the actual value of it, varies. The 1999, I pulled it up, it's an AI overview. The 1999 Burgerking gold-plated poliwhirl card generally has a low value, typically ranging from about $4 to $35 depending on its condition and whether it's sealed or comes with the original packaging. Ungraded, heavily played cards may sell for under $10. Those excellent mint condition worth more. But yeah, it still had the original, box it came in. And the certificate and everything with it. Heck. Maybe I'll use a picture of that stuff for... I was thinking about using a picture of Natsui. Maybe I'll use a picture of Natsui that I was going to use for the next video. And like I said, I didn't say anything in response to my son saying this. Other than just... I don't want you to sell it, I want you to keep it. This is a gift for you to have, But yeah. So, I gave it to him in 2023. And I had had it since 1999. And I still am glad I gave it to him. It's just... I didn't like the statement that I'm giving you something that I've had for like 25 years, and your first instinct is whether or not you can sell it. It still bothers me that I'm alienated from my child. And that my child apparently, as far as I can tell, is being forced to not be allowed to see or talk to me, or just doesn't want to anymore. that he just doesn't want a dad. He doesn't seem to like me, Really, I've never done anything wrong. And I've always tried to be involved in his life as much as I was ever allowed. Heck, I don't think I've ever even said or done a single thing wrong ever. Heck, my only failures as a father is I was never rich, and the wife I married turned into a psychotic demon. But I still say to this day, the happiest day of my life is the day he was born. And I will always, always love him. And I'll always be there for him. Anytime I can be. But still feel like I lost my family. I still feel upset that I feel like my son was stolen from me. It's still funny. For like the first 5 years of the divorce, I spent a couple hours a day just sitting in my son's bedroom talking to his stuffed animals. Now it's usually about 15 minutes or so a day I sit in there talking to his stuffed animals. I've even made videos showing his bedroom. Eventually, I might have to move or something. Heck, I mentioned in the Denpa video that my mom had just recently brought up the idea that whenever Dad dies, technically my stepfather, but I consider him my dad, that she's telling me she'd basically would have to move in with me. And on the one hand, I don't want to live with my mother again, but at the same time, I love my mom very much, and I would never let her be homeless. I have so many happy memories of my son when he was born, and taking him to the zoo and park and tons of places that he had a blast at. I changed his diapers, I fed him, I gave him baths, I read him stories. I was usually criticized as being an overprotective helicopter father. I taught him to walk, I taught him to talk. I read to him all the time. And I did everything I could to stay involved in his life as much as I could. But lots of things in life are, well, things you have no control over. And to a large degree, I feel like I've just been grieving for what feels like the loss of my son. But I'm glad he's alive and hopefully doing well where he is. And I know the choices I made are what kept him alive. That there were no other options. Any other choice I made, he would have never even survived past his 5th birthday. I did what was required in order to protect him. I worry about the future of this world. What schools will be like, AI and stuff. Heck, I went to Boy Scouts when I was younger. Yet for the most part, Boy Scouts is an organization that really doesn't exist anymore. And most of the campgrounds I went to, even summer camps, are all shut down. Because I've looked it up on Google, and most of those places are just shut down and discontinued in use now. And I feel largely society that he'll be growing up in would be unrecognizable to people back in the 90s. I remember the floppy disk drives, the startup computers. I'm probably the youngest person in the world, really, that remembers a world before the internet. I have 2 years of birthday presents and last year's Christmas presents still just sitting around for whenever I'm able to give them to him. I worry about his well-being, and I worry that he's growing up to probably be someone I wouldn't recognize. That his personality would have been very different if I actually had been able to raise him myself like I always wanted to. That I feel both his personal future as well as all this future of this world as a whole are very different than what I envisioned the day he was born and I was holding him in my arms. And little things like I said, his reaction to the poliwhirl card, or hearing him say he just doesn't want to see or talk to me. That hurts my feelings, it makes me sad. Though I can also remember a time when he was younger, where he was always happy to see me and saying, "I love you, Daddy," and was just always so happy to be around me. Then, of course, there was us having to deal with his mother, which again, that's... Looking back, I can say I married her for 2 reasons. 1, because I really did love and trust her. And 2, because she was literally the only person that I ever would have been able to marry. Had I not married her, I would have never had a wife or a child. And I wanted very much to be a father and to have a family. And I did everything I could to be a good husband and a good father. I don't miss my ex-wife at all. In fact, I'm actually terrified of her and disgusted, upset with her, and I don't want to ever see or talk to her again. But it certainly was emotionally hurtful to be betrayed by somebody you thought loved you and you trusted, someone you thought would be a good wife, someone you thought would be loyal, someone you thought would be a good mother, and then to be horrified to be seeing how much she's neglecting and abusing your child. And to know that there's really nothing you can do about it. That wouldn't result in a situation where she would then wind up with more control over him, at which point I wouldn't be able to protect him. And again, I kinda got used to the idea back then of coming home from work every day to be yelled at and told how much I'm hated and all that stuff. And yet I still tried to make it work for the sake of my child. And I still tried to shelter my child from any sort of arguments or anything, and it always... that even if things were going poorly in that front with my marriage, I wanted to make sure he had a good childhood, to make sure that he knew that he was loved. And I did the best that could be done about that. I love my son, I'm proud of my son, and I miss him a lot. I hope he's doing well, and I know I made the right decision. All the choices I made were to protect him, and I know I made the correct choices, and that if I had not made the choices I did, he wouldn't have survived. But I hope he's doing well, and I will always love him and be grateful for him. And like I say, with my mom, I have lots of happy memories with her. Back when I was a child, playing Mario 1 and Mario 3 and Spyro, watching her cook dinner and talking to her. Yes, I have some complaints about certain aspects of her, and things where I feel that I'm certainly in a disagreement with her on certain things. But I love her very much, and I'm grateful for her, and I appreciate everything she's ever done for me. And while I have complaints about certain things, I wouldn't trade her for any other mom in the whole world. I love her very much. Though I do worry about when she eventually dies. Since, she's gotten older, and seeing her aging, technically, it's a miracle she's even alive at all. She had 3 strokes and an aneurysm about 8.5 or so years ago. So I'm grateful she's still alive, and I'm grateful for everything for her. But I worry about so many things, and one of them is when she eventually goes. Whenever that time comes, I will miss her very much, and I will feel very, very sad, and I'll feel emotionally devastated over that. I can't say I really give a shit about Dad. I didn't care when my biological father died. I really don't think I'll care about my stepfather. But my mom, I would say her and my son are the 2 people I love the most in this whole world. And they're very precious to me. And sometimes I look at things that are going on with both of them. I want them to be happy, but I feel like neither of them are happy. But regardless of the circumstance of anything, I am still grateful for the family that God blessed me with, for my mother, and for my son. And I worry about a lot of things, but I hope they're both happy. And I hope they both realize how much they mean to me and how much I love them. It's not like that's why I gave it to you, but, well, if you really say so, then I will rest for now. My headache is awful. Try not to stay up too late. Sure. Natsui put the charm in her pocket and turned away. She then disappeared into the dark hall. It seems the weather will be like this all day tomorrow. After all, dang, this makes the good weather we had earlier feel like a lie. I suppose we should call the video. I'm trying to keep it short, and even though, yeah, my laptop actually still feels cool to the touch. Normally, even before that fan was making the really loud noise, the laptop would be super hot by this point. But even though I know no longer an internally functioning fan and using an external one, apparently it's better than ever. I wonder if that means my computer will have better performance. Oh well. Perhaps that's being a bit greedy on my part. But I suppose it's... Oh, do we even have tips? Oh, neat. Anyway. I would like to say again that I'm enjoying this story. And while it probably sounds a bit boring to all of you, and you guys are probably there's more important things when it comes to video games or anime, I want to say it one more time. I really like good music. Whether it's in a game, whether it's an action game or a story-based game, or an anime. I like listening to anime OSTs. I like listening to video game OSTs. Though I might be the only one. But I'll let you guys go for today. Thanks for joining me, and I guess at least we don't have the eminent sound of my laptop bursting into flames as a loud background noise anymore. I'm pretty sure the last two videos were more unpleasant than my average video to listen to. Or at least now the only annoying sound you have to listen to is my voice. Heck, I think I've said my singing voices when I've done my karaoke is epilepsy for your ears. But regardless of my soon-to-raise self, thank you for joining me on this, and I appreciate you watching and listening to the video. I hope you all have a good day, and I hope all of you have all the hugs and head pats you could ever want, and make sure to sleep well and drink plenty of water. And above all, whoever you are out there, you're probably being too hard on yourself. But until next time, bye.